I'm Rob Trauma from Sports on Tap, and joining us now on the RRT Productions hotline is Executive Director of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, Joe Simon. Joe, thanks for taking time to join us tonight.
Oh, happy to be here.
Now, Joe, we're getting kind of into the second half of league play here, especially, starting to barrel down on the Barron Cup that's going to come up in February. Seems like time's flying. Getting into Barron Cup and teams that, might be on the bubble or try to sneak in. It's going to start to get interesting in the league play here.
Oh, definitely. The Martin Luther King weekend also, it just signifies the second half of the hockey season. And the one thing that we can't control is the weather. And, as you said, we have deadlines looming. The Barron Cup starts on February 5th. And the state tournament starts on February 12th. And, their teams, we've seen a lot of non-league games get canceled, and we've seen a lot of league games get rescheduled. And the league games really impact the standings. But non-league games are important, too, because I think teams use the non-leagues for two reasons. One is to challenge themselves. They use those non-league games as measuring sticks. And, the second reason teams use non-league games is to play players they don't normally play, to give them an opportunity to play. And when you cancel those games, it's less opportunities to measure yourself and less opportunities to give players the opportunity to play.
No, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, playing the non-conference and the non-league games, you said it, it's the competition and preparing you for league play. And we talked to a lot of coaches so far this year that said the same thing. Those non-league are important because it's really going to prepare you for league play that, really is important as they go into the Barron Cup. Now, looking at the Barron Cup, as it comes up, you see some pretty impressive teams this year. Shaker Heights is undefeated in league play, a Rocky River. But, one team that we talked a little bit about before was Mentor. What have you seen from this Mentor team so far this year?
Well, Mentor has a very balanced attack, and they have a solid rock in net with Jacob Tackett. And, they are, during the first half of league play, I think they were sneaking up on teams. But that's one of the things, the second half gets played in more of a fast forward mode, and the familiarity is there. Teams have played each other once during league play and probably have seen each other during a holiday tournament or two. And so, a team like Mentor, they're not going to sneak up on anybody. They're going to paint a target. They've painted a target on their chest. And the same thing with Shaker. They're sitting up in first place in the Red North, and I think they're going from here on out. Everyone is going to give them their best shot. So they've got to come ready to play every night. So, and you also bring up other teams. Scheduling. Some teams have played a lot of games, and the question becomes, will that help them or hurt them? And
yeah.
Two teams that I'm keeping my eye out for or looking out for is Amherst and Kenston. They've played a lot of non-league games or tournament games, and it's when is too much? So.
Yeah, and right now Amherst actually 6-1 in league play, and they're in first, just ahead of Olmsted Falls. So far, they're playing very well, and Kenston at 2-3. They're in the Red North Division for Kenston. They're 2-3 right now, but like you said, some of these guys, especially with Barron Cup, there's still, about a month left before Barron Cup starts, and with kids starting to wear down a little bit with injuries, that's something you almost have to be careful with, because Barron Cup is the most important time. You want to make it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's adversity out there, and it's you and I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and
right.
Our and it was mentioned by Coach Eddie Babcock in the previous interview, but now is the time that most schools, they've had their finals or they're transitioning from the first semester to the second semester. So, are players eligible to play? Are they dealing with injuries, those nagging injuries? Because they've been playing since the beginning of November. So there's a lot of practices and a lot of games that have taken place. And, you have to also look at, are there chemistry issues? And you and I can't answer those questions because we're not in the locker room with those teams. So,
it's going to be fun to see what happens. It's a long season. I mean, these guys play a lot of games throughout the season. What do they play? 20 to 25 games usually. Would you say on average for a hockey year?
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. I think the state allows you to play up to 35 games, and there are some teams that play that hover around that 30 to 35 mark, and there are other teams that play in the space of the 25 to 30, and there's also other teams that, because of their roster size, they like to play a minimum amount of non-league games or participate in tournaments just because they don't have the depth. So, I mean, that's something you want to take into account as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think getting back to the second half that's played and fast forward, there are second half rallies. So the question is who can regroup and make a push to get in the playoffs. So if we started the Barron Cup today, there are teams that are on the bubble that qualified last year that aren't qualifying. And from a league standpoint, as the executive director, I mean, I think you like to see that parity. But teams like Hudson, can they make a push to get into the playoffs? A team like Cleveland Heights, had a lot of experience the last couple of years. Can they get in? Avon is another team that we're watching out for. Is Chagrin Falls? They're teams that are on the bubble, and even the Barron Cup 3 champs. CVCA, they're on the outside looking in on the playoffs. So, when you come into the Barron Cup 3, it could be wide open, and we could be looking at a new champion this year. But again, at the end of the day, you can't rule out CVCA. They were a number 3 seed last year. No, actually, they were a number 4 seed last year in the playoffs, and actually won the Barron Cup. So there's still a lot of hockey to play with. The 3 weeks to go before the Barron Cup. So
yeah, and right now CVCA, they're 2-5 in conference play. They're in the Blue North division, and they're right behind Aurora, who's 3-3. So, like you said, it's going to be an important month, really, for teams that are on the bubble to really try to play their best hockey and get some things straightened out. That maybe they have issues with in the beginning of the season, and correct those. And it's important now to really get on a little bit of a roll going into the Barron Cup, and maybe you can pull a surprise off in the Barron Cup. You just never know. As long as you make that Barron Cup, you never know what can happen.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that we've seen teams that were, in years ago that they were the number 8 seed, and they came in there and they caught fire and won the tournament. So, your point, you never know. You just got to get in, right?
Yeah.
Old cliche.
Yeah, that's half the battle right there. Just get in, and then you never know. See what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been impressive. What's been impressive to you as the executive director this year? Going from last year to this year, what's one thing that you were pretty impressed with? Whether it's a team, whether it's some players, player performances that we've seen this year. A lot of scoring. It seems like I've noticed Brooklyn. What a job they've done. Ryan Kilber, from last year to this year, they just continue to get on a hot streak. But what are some impressive things that you've seen so far this year in the league?
Well, I think you look at a team like Mentor, as we mentioned before. They snuck up on some teams, and they're really putting forth the effort. North Olmsted, they're sitting 4-2. In second place in the Red South, and they have a very small roster. They're somehow piecing it together, and
Mhm.
they're putting themselves in a very good position to qualify for the Barron Cup. Amherst Field is another one. We talked about it earlier. They played a lot of games, but this is their second year back in the league, and
Mhm.
to go from they're in last place, and now with a couple of weeks remaining, they're in first place. So I mean that's a good story to look at. And Orange is another good one. They had some middling years where they were playing 500 hockey, and now they're just taking charge in the White South. So
Mhm.
um, you know that's always good to see. And Avon Lake just continues to play well in the Blue North, and realignment talks come up, and there's a tendency to want to pull them or push them up into the white division. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, last year, Avon Lake had a really good season, and then in the playoffs got upset. I believe it was in the first round. Was it in the first round, or did they?
Yeah, no, it was first round, and that's
Yeah, that's
where
what I thought.
we talked about it earlier. It was the scheduling.
Yeah.
Teams have played a lot of games. They actually played. I believe they played a game. The opening game was Monday night, and they played a game Sunday night. So you have to ask yourself,
Oh.
does that creep in? Did that impact their Barron Cup play?
Mhm.
So it goes back to the question is, playing a lot of games, will that help teams, or will that ultimately hurt teams? So um, there,
Yeah.
come February, there's very little room for error.
Yeah,
So
to say the least. Yeah, especially, I mean, you said the North Olmsted having a great year. I mean, Midview, they were another solid team last year, and they're hanging around right in back of North Olmsted in that Red South division, and Solon at 3-3. We talked about them last year. All these teams, really just hanging around, and it's gonna really, I think this next month is gonna hopefully straighten itself out, or are we going to have some games that go down to the very last game to see if some teams go in? That's going to be the fun part to watch.
well, definitely, and I think when we talk about the Barron Cup, you asked us what were the biggest changes as the executive director, and one of the things we were very bold last year, and with in the blue and the white division, we sort of tweaked the format a little bit and focused more on a divisional format. So individuals have to, or teams have to duke it out within their division in order to get it out into to get out of the we'll call we called it the divisional finals or the divisional semifinals, and then 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, they get out into semifinal play, and it really emphasizes league play. In when I took over the role in 2015, the opening round of the Barron Cup felt more like the state tournament, where it was just a formality. Teams just had to show up, and we made a slight little tweak last year, and very positive. And Ryan Kelberg talked about it back in December. We had we play 21 games that week. Of those 21 games, when we got into the semifinals and the finals, 5 of those games went into overtime, and that's what we really want to see. The Barron Cup tournament is meant to challenge teams. We want to find out who the best team in each league is, and we want teams playing a complete, we'll call it a 200-foot game. We want them to own. We're going to force them to own all 3 zones. So they have to play well in the offensive zone, the neutral zone, and the defensive zone. And we're playing at Brooklyn. It's a huge ice surface, and we want you to play excellent special teams. We want you to have a good penalty kill. So we want you to overcome your own mistakes and a power play. We want you guys, to make the other team pay. And ultimately, we want teams to have a balanced attack that can play for 45 minutes and beyond. And I think that's, between 2015 and 2016, we got that. We want the Barron Cup to be a gauntlet. You know, as the executive director, I sit in the position. I don't have a dog in the fight, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a championship caliber team, your mindset should be bring it on. You know, our objective as a league is to challenge teams and to make sure that they're playing their best hockey come February. So,
yeah, no,
I'm
I
off
think
the soapbox now.
well, I know you guys continue, you know, to really get the coaches and the teams involved, and I think, you know, when we talk to coaches, you heard it, you know, you guys definitely listen to opinions and see what's the best move for the league, and a lot of the coaches and players agree that it's just continually gotten better and better, and I thought we saw that in the Barron Cup last year, like you said, with overtime wins, with some upsets, and I think that's all part of it. You know, it makes it fun for the kids, you know, overall. They love playing. You know, you got a nice crowd and you got some coverage there to really pump out the league and show what this league's about. And, you know, it's been fun so far to really cover the league and see how it goes. A lot of great teams. And like you said, what was it, 46% of this league covers high school hockey teams in Ohio.
Yeah, we definitely have our fair share. There's about 78 teams in the state of Ohio that play high school hockey, and you know it comes back to the Barron Cup because you know a state tournament. You know, Cleveland is you know, we have the luxury of sending two teams down to Columbus because you know it breaks down to two teams from the Cleveland, one from the Toledo area and one from the Columbus area. And, you know, so only two teams from Cleveland can make it. So that just, it puts the emphasis back on the Barron Cup, and that's a meaningful tournament just because, you know, most kids growing up, they've played against each other. They're very familiar with each other, and really that tournament is bragging rights for them. Because chances are they're going to see those guys or the other players the following week or once their season's over by playing in their pre-post teams. So it's definitely bragging rights and something that they play hard for.
Absolutely. Now, Joe, is there anything else you'd like to cover on the league and you know, heading towards the Barron Cup, you know, with teams and you know, there's been some great player performance, a lot of scoring, it seems like, with some of these players and the goaltenders trying to block a ton of shots this year, it seems like. And, you know, we talked to some of the coaches, and I think one of the goaltenders said, I think it might have even been 240 shots on goal so far this year, which I found to be crazy. But,
yeah, again, a lot of rubber their way, right?
But you know, it's been fun really to see the, you know, the scoring and some of the great goaltending too in the league so far.
Well, the other thing, you know, want to point out is penalties. Penalties, they seem to be. We're not seeing a lot of 10-minute major or major penalties as we have in years past. So I think that also comes back to more of a respect factor that the players have for each other, and also, you know, the refs giving them the space to let them play the game. So, you know, that's another, you know, like you just want to quickly, you know, hats off to they're the third team on the ice, and you know, the referees that work high school games, they're tremendously committed. But the pool is getting smaller and smaller, and you know it's hard to find people who are one willing to do it, and then two have the knowledge, the experience, and the skill to do it. You know, anybody can read the rule book, anybody can watch it or play it, but you know, to get in there and you know, to have the skating ability and to be in the right position at the right time, it is key. And you know, it also takes, you know, we forget the time and effort it takes. So, you know, as a league, you know, we wanted to, you know, we're going to think about ways for to make it attractive for officials to ref our games. You know, as a league, we offer, 200 plus opportunities to those refs. So, we have to ask ourselves, what can we do to support that third team? Because without the refs' support, we don't have a good league experience. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I know you guys have a website. Where can people out there, obviously, it's a good opportunity if you guys are looking for referees, maybe former hockey players that, are back home and looking for a job. I mean, it's a great opportunity. Where can they find more information on, these opportunities? And also you guys have a website with all the standings, player performances, statistics, all kinds of things on the league.
Oh, definitely. No, we have a great league website. So if you go to Greater Cleveland High School, it's Alphabet Soup Hockey League, right? GCHSHL.net. There's lots of information out there for you, and if there are individuals interested in becoming a member of that third team, shoot the league an email, and we'll share your contact information with the appropriate people, and get them in touch with individuals, because it's one of those things where it's going to take time and effort. You got to find those people who are willing to put in the time to start reffing the youth hockey games and getting their feet wet at the mite and squirt level, and then working your way up the food chain to get into those high school games. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And hopefully, it'll help get some awareness out there and get more people involved in being on that third team, and start prepping them now, getting them practice and out there and get some experience. But it's a great league. You guys do a great job. And, is there any last thoughts or comments on the league play in the second half here as, we roll towards that Barron Cup? Any last thoughts you have?
No. Well, the last thought is, we've got 22 days until the start of the Barron Cup tournament, and we're looking for the top 24 teams to punch their ticket into the tournament. And like we said earlier, anything can happen once you get in there.
Yep. And it's coming down. It's coming quick too, so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Who's in and who's fighting to get in here in the Barron Cup. Joe, thanks for taking time to talk to us tonight. We really appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure.
That's Joe Simon, the Executive Director of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League here on Sports on Tap. I'm Rob Troutman. I want to thank everyone for listening. Go to our website, sportsontappodcast.com. Also, we're on Twitter at SOT Podcast, on Facebook. You could go to the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League's website at GCHSHL.net. They're on Facebook, on Twitter. Go to our YouTube page as well to see all of our podcasts that are archived. I'm Rob Troutman. Thanks for listening to Sports on Tap.